Okay, cool. I'm great, and today I'm here with
TY.
and we're going to be discussing should African descendants return back to indigenous spirituality.
Big topic still.
Yeah, very
big
big
topic still.
Yeah. The stance I'm coming from, I'm a Christian, so I'm going to be coming from a biblical perspective.
And my stance is more along the sides of yes, they should return, and obviously I'll explain along as we go along why I'm backing that today.
Aye, let's get into it. So you know what? I think first and foremost, I think it's more important that just so the people know what do you actually mean by African descendants and even like the indigenous spirituality. I feel like, do you know what I mean? Just so
Yeah. It's very important. So I was even going to touch on that as well.
Yeah.
So first of all, for anybody that doesn't know, indigenous just means people that are original or native to a place, right? So people that are originally from Africa and the things that they believed in, sort of their mindset, these things before the involvement of any outside third party like Europeans or Arabs or anything like that.
Cool. So it's because I agree with what you said in terms of indigenous and spiritual. But what do you think?
Oh yeah, what spirituality is? Yeah.
I feel like this is where. What do you reckon? What do you think of spirituality?
I feel like there's no like one dictionary meaning for spirituality. I feel like everybody's kind of got their own internalized opinion of what it is. But for me, I feel like spirituality is anything in relation to two core things. And that's your spirit. So like your non-physical life force, breath, whatever you want to call it, and any sort of higher power. So I think spirituality is anything that has those two blocks, like your spirit and then a higher power.
Do you know what? I agree. I feel like I'm trying to think of if there's any deviation because I do. Because the spirit, we're not talking about the flesh, we're talking about the spirit, we're talking about things that are unseen.
Non-physical.
Non-physical things. So I definitely agree with that, and I definitely think it has to. You know what? I agree with that. We can go through. So we've made clear what we both agree what African indigenous is, and we both agree in terms of spirituality.
100%.
Okay, perfect. And from your stance, what kind of African or indigenous like religions or anything like that do you know of? Because I'm Yoruba, I'm Nigerian, so this is kind of part of like man's culture. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it'd be interesting to hear what you mean about indigenous religions, because you know a lot of things weren't recorded.
100%. And I think that's a good place to start because I kind of need to clear some things up there. I'm kind of coming from like a top-down approach instead of a bottom-up approach. So when I'm saying whether they should return to indigenous spirituality, my points are more so they should be moving away from non-indigenous spirituality.
Like what, for example, like the conventional, like the Christianity, Islam
stuff like that. So I'm gonna start my argument, my stance from there, and then work my way down to what the alternatives would be, which are the. You know what I'm saying? Because it's easier that way because we know more about what they have been using.
Okay, cool.
Right. So I've got like a little bit of an opening statement. I'm just gonna go through that, and it should be easy to flow from there, innit? So the first thing I want to say with this debate title, is that I need to narrow down exactly which people I'm focusing on for this topic, because it's easy to get like misconstrued, right? So obviously the US and the UK are the two largest English-speaking countries in the world by population, right? Only 14% of the US population is black. And only 4% of the UK is black.
That's crazy,
That's crazy, right?
Yeah, for more than 4%.
Like we're nothing here.
Yeah, that's mad.
So I need to separate our perspective, which is very uncommon in African descendants, from the main perspective, which is people on mainland Africa. So the reason why I say that is because, like I said, 4% is UK, 14% is the US, The US has like 340 million people. The UK has like 70 million people. Africa has 1.5 billion people, right? And 90 to 95% of that is black Africans. So therefore, if we're going to be speaking about whether African descendants should return to indigenous spirituality, we need to speak from the perspective of the majority of black African descendants, which are people that currently today are living on mainland Africa, because that's the far majority of African black people. See what I'm saying? And the experience that they have. Because in the UK, we're quite privileged, to be honest. We're quite lucky. We have life quite well in comparison. See what I'm saying? So I just wanted to kind of set that kind of frame, really.
Okay, cool, sweet.
What do you like think about that?
Do you know what? Like it's funny because when I was learning on this I was learning about because in my head I'm thinking, how far am I gonna have to go back? Then I realized if we look, and today we're going to be looking at the Bible as a history book, because there's not a lot of information out there, but when you actually look into the Bible, there's a lot of information other than the Bible, do you know what I mean? So if we're looking at the Bible as a history book, where was the origins of the Bible, bro? It's in Africa. So when somebody says to me, oh, we're going to return through indigenous spirituality and what was there before, this is what was there before. God was there before. Because when you see the Bible starts at the very beginning, and that's in the beginning. There was nothing there before the beginning. Do you get what I mean? So if the Bible speaking about in the beginning, and Africa is the cradle of life where it all started from, that is the number one religion from our indigenous people. Do you know what I'm trying to say? That is what people,
I see what you're trying to say.
So I'm trying to say that is what people have been following from time of Adam and Eve. Do you see what I'm saying?
I disagree wholeheartedly.
Really?
Wholeheartedly.
Why do you disagree with that? Go on.
So cool. From a theoretical, or no, from a religious standpoint, I get what you're saying, because obviously in the Bible it speaks about what is the creation. But if we come outside of the Bible and talk about geographically where the Bible itself was actually produced, then we have to go back to what is modern day Israel, right? Yeah. And that's outside of Africa. And we got to think
modern day Israel is outside of Africa.
Yeah,
where was
it's in the Middle East. Israel's in the Middle East.
Okay, yeah.
And then so you got Israel. And then next to it, you've got Egypt, and then you branch out into Africa.
Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay.
So that's the main reason why I disagree with that, because funnily enough, a lot of people don't know that, and Africa is such a huge place that different sides of it embrace different things at different times, right? But me and you both have West African descendancy, majority in it. You're Nigerian, I'm Caribbean, but most Caribbeans are West African descendancy, right?
Yeah, cool.
West Africans were actually Muslim or accepted Islam before Christianity, because Christianity didn't make it to West Africa until the 1400s, when the Europeans came on the boats and brought the idea of Christianity.
Do you know what? When people say that, yeah, it's false. And do you know why
Tell me why.
Do you know why I say it's false? Because even in the Bible, where did God set the Egyptians free from? It was from Pharaoh, from Egypt. And this is going way back before any slavery you could talk about. Do you get what I mean? Like, so when people say, oh yeah, this is when Christianity came from, it's not the case. And that's why I say in the sense of, Christianity has always been around. Do you see what I'm saying to you? Like, even when
but then you got to break it down. Cool. So then if we use your logic, and we go by the timeline of the Bible, everything got reset at Noah, right? Because of the Great Flood.
Yeah.
All of humanity got wiped out except for Noah and his family. So that means Noah and his family have now gone and populated the rest of the world. All of us have come from Noah and his family, essentially. You have to believe that if you go by the Bible. So the first question I'd ask you is, okay, where did Noah's Ark land?
Oh, I see. So then you meant... Okay,
because that's where population would have started from.
Have you heard of the Tower of Babel?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So let me even...
Babylon?
Yeah, Tower of Babel. Wherever...
But I'm saying that's in Babylon.
If I'm honest with you, I ain't got a Scooby-Doo where it is. I'm being real. And before you know, man's got notes, because I'm not... I'm a Christian, but I'm not... You get me? Them man there.
We've got the technology as well if we need to search everything.
Yeah, that is true. But you know what? Tower of Babel, yeah. Look, while I'm looking for where I had it in my notes, look where the Tower of Babel is from. Where am I reading from?
So according to Wikipedia, and obviously Wikipedia is not always 100%, you know what I'm saying, but according to Wikipedia, what it's saying is that the Tower of Babel was in Lower Mesopotamia, which is modern day Iraq.
Okay, modern day Iraq was where the Tower of Babel,
yeah.
Okay, cool. And the question, because basically where I'm trying to look for is when the Tower of... Where is it? You know what? Let me just... I've got so much notes, but let me just go from what I know. When the Tower of Babel occurred, there's something that happened, and everyone, we all came from Noah, but the reason the Tower of Babel happened is because humans were all one. They were all speaking one language. They all came together.
Facts.
And he saw what humans could do, and God realized that if he does not destruct the language and spread them out amongst the earth, then there'll be nothing being possible for human beings. Do you get what I mean? So when he done that, he also put angels in charge of each. Let me read it from. He put angels in charge of regions, and that's how people begin to speak different languages, and that's, in my opinion, again, how different religions came to be, because people would see these, and what these angels did, because, okay, let me just, from the beginning, there's 3 rebellions. The first rebellion is when Satan rebelled in heaven, When Satan rebelled in heaven, he took a third of the angels down. And I believe that those angels are demons. So that's number 1.
That makes sense.
Number 2, you've then got the second time the angels rebelled, and that's when they came and they had sex with...
they created Nephilim and all of that.
And it's funny because there's in the Bible, there's a race of giants referred to as the Anak. And that's where I believe even the Anunnaki comes from. Because they say that...
what's the difference between the Anak and the Nephilim?
It was just a race of giants. It's just
one
was pre-flood and one was after flood.
Oh, I see.
You get what I mean? Yeah. So pre-flood was the Nephilim.
Okay.
After was the Anak. And they had another.
Which book in the Bible speaks about the post-flood giants?
Okay. That would be Genesis or Exodus, one of the two, because that's the very beginning. So I believe before then. Let me see. It would either be Genesis, Exodus, or Deuteronomy. Looking at it now, it was, because I got here in Deuteronomy. Okay, cool, perfect. I'm gonna read from Deuteronomy 32:8, and this is, and I just understand the distinction, because it says, when the Most High, and we know he's referring to angels, because he calls himself the Most High, when he's referring to other spiritual beings, it's kind of like he has to let them know like what's going on. So he says, when the Most High assigned the land to the nations, when he divided up the human race, he established boundaries of the people according to the number of the heavenly court. So there's a hierarchy within heaven, Deuteronomy 32 verse 9 said, for people of Israel belong to me, Jacob is my special possession. So he divided the world in terms of and as kind of assigning with angels. And this is where I believe that the gods come from now, because some of these angels rebelled in their own way and became corrupt. And because of that, human beings saw them as gods. Because in my head, because when I was, are you following where I'm coming from? Yeah, cool. So human beings saw them as God. So that is, from what I'm saying, that's the third rebellion, right? So you've got Satan rebel, you've got the people that came to have sex with the humans.
The angels that came
angels had sex with the humans. And then the third one is when God now said, yo, I'm going to divide it up in terms of the heavenly hosts. And then that's when some of the angels didn't do what God said, and they too turned corrupt. So that is where I believe all other gods come from.
So basically, you're saying like all the gods mentioned in the Old Testament, like Baal and all of them ones. You're saying they actually were just angels that rebelled, and then the people in different nations chose to follow them instead. Yeah, and in the Bible refers to gods in two ways: as idols. And the way the Bible refers to idols are basically anything that takes your attention away from God as an idol. And it could either be abstract, it could either be physical, it could not be physical. Like your girl could be an idol. Do you get what I'm trying to say? If you care about your car too much, anything that takes your attention from God. But it specifically says idols are nothing. Like even when it talks about Exodus and the golden calf, when Moses went up and came down from the Mount Sinai, I believe it was, and then when he came down, they'd all created a calf, a golden calf from earrings and all jewelry. And God was angry because he's like, this idol, they can't even hear or can't even see. So he made a clear distinction between idols and what gods are. Because if we wanted to speak about the Bible, like I'm not trying to, and it's funny because learning about this topic. Before this, I'll probably say, nah, there's no other gods. But although I believe there's no other gods other than God, because God is supreme, but there are gods, small g. Do you get me? Big G for God, small g for, do you get what I'm trying to say, for the other gods. And having said that, if you look at the Bible, there's so many examples of where God said that you shouldn't worship other gods. So many examples. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And it's funny because it mentions. But that's why I said to my cousin in a separate thing. That's why I said to my cousin. But surely there is proof that there are other gods. Maybe not as supreme, because God Himself has said.
Bro, 100%. Yeah, there is. But then it great teaches about, because you know what it is. Let me bring you one verse. Yeah, and this is why I don't mess with other gods, because it specifically calls it demon worship. Like specifically, So, alright, cool. Let's say if we wanted to look at what are demons. Demons are evil spirits, fallen angels who rebelled with Satan, right? If you go to, where is it? Matthew 4:9, yeah? Where God says, I will give it all to you if you, cool. So, Matthew 4:9 is when the devil tempted Jesus, yeah? And what did the devil say? He said, I will give everything to you if you kneel and you worship me. That's what the devil said. Jesus didn't say this is not for you to give. Do you get what I mean? He never said you can't give this to me. He said no. He rebuked him. So that goes to show that the devil has domain in this earth. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So when you think of it like that, the devil has domain in this earth, and he can be seen as the prince, I guess, of all these other little gods and all this blah blah blah. Then you kind of understand that, these gods or whatever they may be have power too, but it's just nothing that rivals.
It's just not supreme
at all, at all, and not only supreme, it's also evil. So if we're gonna go back to, the Bible again, Deuteronomy 32 verse 17 is when they were basically offered the humans back then. They offered sacrifices to demons, which are not God, to the new gods of ancestors. And this is what it actually says. So it talks about, they thought they were offering sacrifices to gods and thinking praise, worship, all of this, whereas you're literally offering it to demons. Do you see what I'm saying to you? So where I do understand that there are other gods that exist, the Bible makes a clear distinction that those gods are demons.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm trying to say? So that's why when bringing it back to the topic in terms of indigenous spirituality, even a lot of the practices that they have, I believe that all the gods that have been there, because if you look at it, let's say we look at the Bible's history book and we understand that's where all the gods have come from, whether it's from the demons, whether it's from when the Nephilim and the giants, or whether it's from when God divided up the world within the heavenly host and the angels, do you know what I mean, they had their own section. So we can see that that's where all the gods from, and that's where all the gods come from. That's where all the spirituality that we have here comes from, whether it's from Africa, China, wherever it may be from, because each god had their own thing. And like, there's even a certain god that was depicted as half man, half fish. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
What, in the Bible?
Yeah, bro, in the Bible, half man, half fish. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Okay.
And it's mad when you think about this, because it's like, that's probably where people see modern day mermaids from. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, they used to, what was it called? Like, there was, what Molech, Assyria, what's it called? I don't try to I don't try to know any of them bad people. But when I was learning about it, God was like, no, this is not what you need to learn about. You need to learn about, do you get me? So
but hold on, let's bring some structure back to this though. So what's the argument that you're making here? If we go back to the title of whether African descendants today, so basically mainland Africans should go back to to indigenous spirituality. What is the argument you're making?
Argument I'm making is that all of the indigenous spirituality that you call it is, if it's not demon worship, it's idol worship. And the reason why I say that is because whatever power, because I'm not trying to say indigenous spirituality, some people can't go there and it works for them, because I've seen it, stuff like that, it works for them, clearly, otherwise they wouldn't be doing it. But where is that power coming from? You don't know. Do you see what I'm saying to you? You don't know. And because none of it's recorded as well, like, for example, like, even if we were to bring it, the last thing I'm going to say before you say something, you know what, in Exodus, I believe it was Exodus, when Moses came in front of Pharaoh, what did Pharaoh's magicians do? They performed the same miracles that Jesus did. But the difference is, there was no comparison. When Jesus turned when Moses turned the shepherd's rod into a snake. That same snake ate the Pharaoh snake. When Moses put the rod in the Nile and turned it red, Pharaoh did the same thing. But the only difference is, God's one lasted longer, and it was real, and it was evident to see. Okay, who? So then the question I have to you is, if that's the case, by whose power was them other gods doing what they were doing? Do you see what I'm saying to you?
I get exactly what you're saying. The only way that I can argue the points that you've made so far is that you're only making a representation from inside the narrative of the Bible, but you're excluding like anything else. You're excluding real life history, how people are living in real life when different people actually got the book. Because here's my thing, let's say that essentially, if we just for a second said that, okay, like there's other spiritualities and potentially there could be other stories that are what it is, like if we look at when I just remembered how we got here, because the Tower of Babel, we were saying so the point I was making with Noah is Noah had to populate the rest of the world, because obviously Jacob and Isaac, all of these people came from Noah's kids, right? So when they shipwrecked on the I was gonna say the Titanic. I'm moving mad. I'm moving mad.
Titanic, you said Iraq.
So that means that humanity today, based on the Bible's account, was all populated starting from the Middle East. So that means from Middle East being the center point, Europe, Africa, Asia had to start. It all started there. So that means, okay, cool, boom. We're here in Middle East with Noah. Now they're reproducing. Our ancestors have now traveled from the Middle East over the bridge into Egypt, over the desert, all the way into West Africa. Cool. The argument that I'm making is, for a long time, these lot were separated from everything that was going on in the center, which is like Middle East, Israel, Lebanon, all this stuff. So they didn't actually come back into contact with the stories and the words and the book until Europeans later sailed down and brought that idea back to them.
Oh, I see what you're
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So they didn't actually have, they didn't even know about the start until so much later.
Do you know what? I kind of understand the angle you're coming from, but if again looking at it, if we see the Tower of Babel is true, what God did by allowing the heavenly host to basically divvy up the world, it was all meant to be for the glory of God. It's not like God gave it to the angels and said, "Right, do what you want with it." Nah, it was all meant to be the glory of God, but it's because they rebelled. So having that premise there, let's say they did go back to Africa, then that's when they could have been taught the nonsense that now they do. Do you see what I'm saying to you?
But how did they determine who's nonsense and who's not? If you're just a people just living somewhere, and you've just been doing whatever you've been doing forever, and then one day big ships come down, start patterning everything and telling you, fuck that stuff you're doing, this is what's going on now. Like, how are you supposed to know what is nonsense and not?
Because I'm basically so from what you're basically trying to say is that it was the slaves that then brought this back to them.
I'm saying Europeans brought this Christianity to our ancestors.
You know, it's funny you say that though, because me as a first generation Nigerian myself, all of this was like we call them the spirits and all these things back home. We call them like Babalawo. That's what we call them. And the story about and how it all came around. From number one, everyone who's ever watched an Hollywood movie knows that these men are bad. Do you get what I mean?
But based on his narrative,
and that's because based on the narrative, in the sense of
it's been biased.
The power that is because even my mum, even back in the day, when my mum used to tell me stories. For example, like there used to be like a tree back in the day where people used to come. They used to put sacrifices to people there, for spirits and whatnot. And you can't eat none of this food, whatever. But my mum used to go there and yam off the food, bro. And people used to be shocked because they were like, "Oh my gosh, how is she not dead?" That type thing, innit? Because these food are for the spirits. So what I'm basically trying to say, in the sense of, this thing has always been about, yes, I agree in terms of spirituality, but so was God to rival. And the reason why I say that is because even from the beginning of time, if we look at pre-flood now, from the beginning of time, before God flooded the world, we can see that what was the first thing that happened in the garden?
The forbidden fruit.
Yeah, the fall of man. So then you got to ask yourself, who was that? Or what kind of spirit? Or there was always a spirit contrary to God. This is why God said he's a jealous God. He doesn't want you to worship other gods. All of these things. So God never denies the existence of other gods. It's just not 100%. Well, I believe from what I've read now, it's a bit clearer in terms of where they came from. But it was not just clear cut in the sense of, the reason why. Well, actually it is. because of all the sacrifices, and the Bible does tell you why you shouldn't worship other gods. So because what I'm trying to say is the spirituality was there from day dot, but so was God. Do you get what I mean? So do you see where I'm coming from? Like, even if we're looking at it pre-flood, it was always there.
The thing is, yeah, like,
that's why God was annoyed with these people.
The thing is, yeah, like, everything you're saying biblically is sound. You know what I'm saying? But the argument I'm making isn't a biblical story argument, it's a historical argument.
Yeah, okay.
Because what I think is good about us having a debate is that, like, I'm very well versed in the Bible as well.
Okay,
so
yeah.
Narrative-wise, Bible-wise, we can do that all day.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to present today, yeah, is historically, like, my view, I think it's hard to dispute it, but my view is that if you're a people, and let me take this lane, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You have a son one day.
Mm-hmm.
That son is 90% likely to have the same beliefs as you, right? Because he's your son, and you're gonna, like, influence what he believes.
Yeah, okay. So,
like, if a whole race of people, like, have been colonized, Islam and Christianity have been pushed on them heavy for 300, 400 years. By the time we get to today and we're now watching Nollywood, well, who's Nollywood written by? It's written by people, right? And if those people have been influenced into whatever their spiritual beliefs are, then that's going to carry out into the Nollywood. So just the same way that, like, you'll have an influence over your son, anybody watching or anybody writing Nollywood will have influence from what's been happening from the colonizers.
Okay.
You see what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So that's why we have to go all the way back before any ship ever landed on Africa.
Of course.
And how are we then and how are we now? Because after 1,200 years since Christianity has come into Africa, today African people and African descendants today they're in chaos, complete chaos.
You think so?
100%. Africa is the poorest continent in the world. Africa's got the most war in the world. Out of 49 countries, currently today, 14 are at war. Africa's the most corrupt continent in the world. So after 1,000 years plus of having indigenous beliefs on us, in practicality, how is it doing for us? It's not doing well at all.
Okay, you know what? The only thing, I've got two questions. First question is that, just before I forget, is in the sense of, so what do you think because the way you're making it seems that these practices are okay. So that's number one. So what makes you think that these practices are okay? That's number one. Just before I forget. That's a good point. And number two, as well. Oh damn! This is why I wanted to get it out.
Just interrupt me if you get a thing in it, because it happens to me as well.
Number two. I feel like it was. Where was it? You know what? Let's address the first one first, and then we'll come back to that one. Which was, what makes you think that these practices are even good?
Okay.
Based on what?
So my stance is, I'm coming more so from the side of, if you've been trying something for a long time and you haven't been getting great results from it, maybe it might be time to try something else. And so, no, but for real though, because like in any other aspect of life, that's the approach we'll take. You know what I'm saying? Like if we was doing one diet for 1,000 years and never losing weight, like, you'd be crazy to keep trying to do the same diet. Like, you would try something else.
Do you know what? Okay, cool. And again, I feel like in terms of the conversation we have today, I feel like if we look at, because all I have as a Christian, all I can do is reference the Bible.
Yeah, and I hear that. I hear that still.
If that's the case, and we look at the Bible as a history book, what you just said right now, what you've heard the story of Lot, right? That's
Abraham's nephew.
Yeah. When long story short, and this was funny enough, where the devil was allowed to basically tempt him and destroy his life. All of his sons, all of his children were killed. Everything was basically taken from him, and there was no. He was a righteous man in the eyes of God, but the devil said, if you take everything from him, he will curse you. Do you get what I mean?
Oh, I don't think that's Lot. I think that's
No, it's not.
Are you sure?
Positive. Go check it. 100%.
I feel like you're talking about Job.
Oh, Job.
Yeah, Job.
Job.
Come on.
I'm not Job. You know what I'm thinking? Look,
that's definitely Job.
Yeah, you're right.
Job still.
Yeah, my bad, Job. Yeah, sorry, cool.
See, I know both sides.
He knows what he's chatting about.
I know both sides. You know what I'm saying?
Cool. So yeah, Job. My bad. Yeah. So it's Job. So long story short, my point was when what was my point? You well done for that. See, man, they all trying to deceive the people on that. I'm like, look, damn, I lost the plot.
But no, you're basically saying that what was you saying? Because Job, that he would be tested, and then when he loses everything, that will turn against God.
Yeah, basically. So long, because you're basically saying that you've been trying something for so long, you don't get results. Sometimes, and when I looked at that story, I thought, brother, why did God do Job like this? Like,
That's a great question.
What did my man do?
What did he do?
But then when I was reading it, it was like, not only did he get everything back tenfold, but it's like, he done that to kind of basically, in a way, fight for Job. Because the devil was saying, bro, like, man was going to turn against you. God was like, nah, he's faithful. Watch, I'm going to prove you wrong. So he's kind of doing it for his honour. Do you get what I mean? And despite everything that happened to him, he did not curse God. And it made him, like, if you were to ask him to this day, yeah, it was probably hard. The man was even regretting the day he was born and things like that. However, look at what it made him into. And I feel like that's sometimes as well, like they say that sometimes God will give you what you want to show you that's not what you want. Or sometimes God will not give you what you want to show you that so when you finally do get it, you understand it.
Oh, more. I'm so happy you're making this point.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I'm so happy you're making this point.
Why do you say that?
It's a counterpoint that I have.
Okay, go on.
That's another reason why I feel like we are where we are, or where we have been for so long, because one of the key tenets of the Bible is it teaches like that kind of fatalism, like oh, things happen for a reason, suffering is holy, the meek will inherit the earth. But if you come outside of the Bible for a second, like these are things that can keep a people oppressed seriously, having those kind of principles, and I think that's exactly what's happened.
Do you know what? Because if I don't feel, but you say that, yeah, but even if we look back Africa, like you said, in terms of corruption, if we look at Africa as a whole, they're probably more than some of the happiest people in the world.
I do hear that a lot.
If you look at what they've got, the lack of what they've got, they have to find joy and peace and happiness in what they do have. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But is that an ideal situation, though?
I wouldn't say it's an ideal situation, but like even like the cliche, oh, pressure builds diamonds and whatnot. Like sometimes you actually have when the Bible talks about you humbling yourself, sometimes you actually have to humble yourself to be lifted up. Like look at Jesus. If we want to talk about Jesus, yeah, whether you believe he was the Son of God or not, or whether you believe he was dying or not, look at the life that Jesus lived, and look at what, because they said that if you look at your life, you'll see what, see how it follows, right? Do you know what I'm saying? So if you look at the life that Jesus led, bro, from the miracles to how he lived and all the teachings and everything like that, he did what was good, what was just, and what was right. Do you know what I mean? In the eyes of the Lord. So if we look at Jesus and understand that, it's like, why? Oh, what was my point? If we're looking at Jesus in terms of all the good things that he did, why then would we even wonder and be like, okay, that is an example, because Jesus could have, like, even when the devil tempted him, Jesus could have done this, he could have defeated him, he could have done whatever, but the fact he humbled himself was the reason why God was able to lift him up.
But that's why biblically Jesus is the man, because in every situation he always done God's will, never his own will. Even though he still at times had the will to not want to do the thing, he's still done God's. That's what biblically makes Jesus the man.
And look what it produced, is what I'm saying. He's the only person you could say that this guy defeated death, he rose from the death. He was the only one who could be the sacrificial lamb that he was. Other than that, it could never have happened. Do you see what I'm saying?
What could never have happened? Oh, what happened?
What happened in terms of this?
But what's the point that you're making?
Okay, so the whole point I'm making, in the sense of, because you were talking about in terms of being oppressed and what it leads you and There's nobody who's been more oppressed than Jesus Christ.
But he's God in flesh, though. Can we compare him to what humans have to go through?
Because he still came down, like he left his divinity. So even though he's God in human flesh, bro, a man, same way, like even if you think about the story when when the devil was tempted him, Jesus didn't say, Satan, you can't tempt me. He said, flee. He said, get away. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
Okay, so are you saying that Africans should go through turmoil and hard life because Jesus done it and he was able to get through?
Not just Africans, everyone, bro.
But not everyone's living the same way.
No, of course. But if you were to ask a very rich person today who's had generational wealth, never had to work for their money, he's not going to understand the value of the money and the things that he has, other than somebody who's self-made. Which person generally do you think? But
you can be rich and Christian at the same time. That's possible.
No, of course. But the point I'm trying to make in the sense of like the difference between somebody who's really rich and who's never had to work for their money and somebody who's had to work for their money.
Oh, like the difference between the values that they have. 100%.
And when you look at them, you'll understand that the person who has had to work harder for their money you could argue and say they've got better values because of how they've had to work for this. Whereas somebody who's never had to work for their money at all, don't even know the value of money, he's never really been humbled in that sense. He's not going to see the same thing the same way. So I understand what you mean in terms of
who would you rather be then? Because it sounds like you're making a justification.
I would rather be the one who suffers to get to where he is. And the reason why I say that is because you understand and you'll value what you have more. The lesson that you will know is going to be greater and far deeper than, like, think about it like this. If you were rich, are you going to just give your children everything?
No.
Why? Why not though?
Because then they're going to end up losing everything.
Exactly. So you have to go through this process. It's not just a thing where it's like, raw.
So why do just African descendants have to go through this process? Why does nobody else have to go through this process?
I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it's African descent. Like, even though the topic is African descendants, I think it's a global thing. Like, people, human beings, because in the eyes of God, whether you're African, whether you're Chinese, Japanese, whatever the race you may be, bro, God doesn't see like that. He sees people. And that's what's so funny about it. Because even the devil, do you think the devil sees, oh, he's a black man, or he's a white man? No, he sees, I want that spirit, I want that soul. Do you think there's colour in spirits and souls, bro?
But then there's different classes though. And there's still, even if there's still like one devil, yeah, who wants everybody's spirit, like people are still living different levels of life. We always have like low class, middle class, high class throughout history, yeah? So like what I'm saying to you, like the argument you're making, it sounds like the reason why people that are like at the bottom will be happy at being at the bottom. Because of what you're saying. Like, it's a good justification. It's like, okay, it's okay to be here and live like this because it's building value and stuff. It's kind of like a justification, you know what I'm saying?
In a way, because it's kind of like looking at it from a different perspective. Because what else is the alternative, bro? To be down at the bottom and be like, oh, I'm suffering and that.
But this is what I'm saying. So are you saying that, like, we're kind of making the same point, but a different point at the same time? It's like, cool, yeah. Realistically, the best thing to do is to be positive in your situation at all times.
Always, yeah.
But it's like, what if that positivity is stopping you from making the change you need for your specific people to have better life? Because not everybody's people is living the same way on this planet.
Okay, but by that, like, even though you have positivity, they say faith without works is dead. So you can have all the positivity in the world, but bro, if you're not doing anything, how are you gonna get there? Do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's what I'm saying.
It's not a situation where you're just like, oh yeah, I'm poor and you still need to work and do what you need to get out there, because obviously I hear what you're saying. So I guess you're kind of saying that what is the need for suffering, low key?
No, because suffering is necessary. Suffering is just a part of life as like good stuff happening to you. Is like, it's like yin and yang, yeah.
Yeah, of course.
But like my thing is, right, if I phrase it like this, yeah, if I bring it back to Africa today, yeah, the 1.3 billion people that are living on like less than £300 a month on purchasing power. So like literally, like imagine living in London and having £300 a month. That's how like 80% of Africans in Africa are living today. So if we start from there and then work down, it's like, okay, how do you feel like non-indigenous spirituality has helped us, considering where they are today?
Okay, cool. Okay, cool. In terms of, because it's funny you even say that, because it's like, if we're gonna look at it in a biblical perspective, in terms of when God speaks about all of these, so how it's helped today. When God speaks about all of these things, it's like there's a reward waiting for you, type thing in it. Like whether it's heaven, whether it's okay, cool. If you follow God, you'll be rewarded. All of these types of things in it. So it's like with modern day spirituality. And that brings me on to my question I asked earlier, like, what is the goodness about that? Because I fail to see the benefit. Whether I'm worshipping Baal or this, or what's my benefit?
I see what you're saying.
Like, what am I getting?
The only thing I can answer to that is, throughout history, before European involvement in Africa and before Arab involvement in Africa, we had kingdoms, we controlled trade routes, we had economic power, we had money. We were 10 times better than we are now. So that's the only really argument I can make about anything that's basically not Christian and Islam. Because before Christian and Islam, we had the best living that we've ever had to this day, even all this time later.
Do you think that is down to religion or the people though?
What do you mean?
Reason why I say that is because, religion has a bigger drive, yeah, but ultimately people have their own free will. And if we're going to bring it...
Do they?
Yes, they do. 100%. Bro, there's nothing stopping me right now jumping out a road and banning someone or hitting someone with a car or doing a mad thing.
Do you know what is stopping you though? Nothing. Your values.
No, of course. But at the end of the day,
literally your values.
Yeah, no, and I agree.
And
with
your
that.
values come from your Christian belief.
Yeah, of course. But then, and which I agree with. But at the end of the day, like I still have like free. Like if man's driving a car, no one's can say that I can't go left or right.
Yeah, 100%.
You know what I'm trying to say?
On a day-to-day, you can
you could literally, and I feel like that's what it like. Well, that's why you got better man in jail.
How much do you think your spiritual beliefs influence your day-to-day decision making, though? Surely a huge amount.
Do you know what? I would say probably because don't get me twisted. Man's still a sinner, innit? Like I'm not perfect.
No one's never not gonna be. No one's Jesus. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day.
Yeah. So it's like I try to allow my spiritual beliefs and how my belief in God to drive me all day, but.
So that's a huge influence then.
Yeah, huge influence.
That's my point.
But then sometimes in terms of flesh, whether it's gal, whether it's money, do you get what I'm trying? Even just enjoyment. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Those things can still sometimes override how I believe.
Facts.
Because man's human.
Yeah,
do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, I agree.
So yeah, but back to the question though, in terms of like, okay, so let me hear about some of the
like an argument that
about some of the spirituality that you know of or do you think of, because go on.
So what I will say straight off the bat is that I'm not hugely strong in any one specific indigenous African spirituality. What I do know is that there's a lot of across all of them, because obviously like Africa's a huge place, like different tribes had different versions of what they believed and stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? But across all of them, like a key tenet seems to be like a lot of respect and focus on people's ancestors, and I think that's actually a good trait, fam. Because what's one thing that black people are missing and always have not really been historically great at, like keeping good community with each other, respecting elders, respecting other black people. Like that's something that we're not really great at. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a good like principle of like indigenous spirituality. And also another point to make, I'm deep in most of my argument is more like pushing away than pushing to. But one big issue I've always had with foreign belief systems, is we're never the hero of the story. Like one people that have had a very similar story to black people are Jewish people, right? In terms of oppression, in terms of stuff like that. But what's the difference between them and us? They're the star of their belief system. They are the Israelites. They are the chosen people. They are who, in every belief system, you don't think so?
Bro, do you know what? Modern day Israel and the Jewish people, what it is today, I don't think that's the same as the speaking in the Bible.
Oh, no, that's an interesting. That's an interesting topic. Still,
I really don't.
So, who do you think are the old, ancient Israelites?
People who believed in God, like in terms of the God of the Bible, Jesus, all of these people. I believe that those are the chosen people. Those are what God meant by the Israelites. Because if you look at it, biblical perspective, anyone else that when they strayed away from God, punishment. Did you get it?
But even Israelites got punished when they strayed away, though. Exactly. That wasn't just an Israel non-Israelite thing.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So it's like anyone who strays away from God basically the belief that you have in God is what I think makes you Israelite, the chosen people. That is it. That's why I don't believe it's a colour thing.
I think that can make you saved. Your belief, I think that can make you saved, but I don't think that makes you.
Talking about the actual chosen people.
Because at some point in the stories of the Bible, these were real people, right?
So the descendants, right?
Yeah. Who do you think are today the descendants of the people of the Bible?
And I don't. We'd have to look at the lineage, if I'm honest with you. But I personally don't believe that they're the Jewish people, and the only reason
a lot of people don't. Of
course, and the only reason why I believe that is because they don't believe in Jesus Christ. I don't believe that they could be the chosen people and not believe in Jesus Christ. It kind of defeats the object.
Not really, though.
It does,
because they were the original story when you think about it.
But if you look at it in the triune, in terms of the Father, it's funny enough because I read somewhere in Hebrews today, because a lot of people say, "Oh, Jesus wasn't mentioned in the Old Testament," but there's verses where Jesus is mentioned in the Old Testament,
like the Messiah and stuff like that,
and Christ and blah blah blah. So it's like.
I don't think Christ, the word Christ. I don't think the word Christ in the Old Testament, bro.
I read it.
Let me pull up Google.
I ain't even got my phone.
It's alright. I got.
Alright, cool. Go on.
But roughly, what book do you think it was in?
11.
Hebrews,
I believe it was like Hebrews 11. No, listen, I'm new. When I keep going, I'll be dropping the verses like that. You get me? But for now, that means like
the apologist.
But I believe it's Hebrews 11. Yeah. where he because it said the son. Where it was talking about the Son of God. Let's see where it is.
It says the word Christ itself doesn't appear in the Old Testament.
It was something like where it was referring to. What was it? Because bro, I was literally looking at this on my phone.
Oh no, Hebrews. You're right. It's in Hebrews 11.
Yeah.
But Hebrews is in the New Testament.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Which makes sense, still.
Okay.
Yeah, but it does say Christ there.
Cool. Because cool. Never mind then. But
what was it? I even forgot what the point you was making with that Christ part though.
The point I was making with Christ.
Oh yeah, because you said the Jews don't believe in.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Because the Jews do not believe in Christ, I don't believe that they can be the chosen people, because this is as a Christian, believe he's the last revelation. He came to consolidate everything, do everything. So because they don't believe in Christ, biblically they're not even saved by the grace.
But they believe in God though.
But it's not the same thing. Because if you look at it like this, and this is kind of why another reason why I'm opposed to indigenous spirituality. Anything that God does, the devil tries to mimic. So, for example, in terms of the hierarchy, the devil has his own hierarchy. In terms of sacrifices, they have their own way of sacrifices. Even in terms of prayer and all of them things, there's like an opposition side of it all. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So having said that, if you look at it in terms of spirituality, and that's the question that I was going to come to you from, that what about this is good? Like there's nothing, because all you're doing, think about it, like you're giving sacrifices, you're doing all of these things, and as a Christian we don't even do these things anymore because of Jesus Christ. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I feel like the reason that was the case is because God saw that everything that he's doing, the evil is trying to mimic the same thing. Because as somebody who's a spiritualist, but I sacrifice too, same way you usually, like let's say Jesus never came and we were still under the old law. But same way you offer burnt offerings to your God, so do I. Same way you do these things to your God, so do I. So by Jesus coming and eradicating all that sacrifice now, it's your belief through him and him now being the sacrificial lamb, it's your belief through him that's now changed things. So we no longer need that sacrifice anymore, but it's now through him. Whereas when you look at all these other religions, especially when it comes to ancient spirituality and all these things, you still have to give sacrifices. They still want something to be sacrificed. Do you see what I'm saying to you? And that's where I'm asking, it's like, what is good about that?
What my thing is, my main answer to that, because I want to try and actually answer what you're saying. My main answer, like, what is good about that? What's good about that is that that's the only time in our known history where we've been prosperous, is when we wasn't on non-indigenous spirituality. That's my answer to that. Which is before Europeans coming over, so that's pre-1400s, and before Islam crossing over to Egypt, Morocco, and then Mali and Ghana, which was like 800s. So before the 800s, essentially, is what I'm saying.
Okay,
we don't even have.
Are you talking about 800? Are you talking about BC?
No, AD.
AD,
yeah. As in like 800, the year 800 AD.
Okay, but the matter thing is, it goes. So what about BC then? Before Christ, that we weren't prosperous then?
Yeah, we were, but before then, we didn't have any connection with these lot though. That's what I'm trying to say to you. We didn't actually meet these people. We didn't see these people until they came over on boats.
Yeah, okay, cool. I kind of get where you're coming from. Yeah, I get where you're coming from still. But I think my whole thing is in the sense of, because what I'm trying to say is in the sense of, okay, cool, because I'm trying to look at it from not wholeheartedly a biblical perspective. Because even if you look at somewhere like,
well, even you can do it biblically. Where in the Bible has there been like a story that's benefited us, or that you feel like
everything, bro? Like in terms of even in terms of because
we're never in it apart from Ham, and then the Ham stuff is negative as hell.
Oh, what are you talking about? Black people?
Yeah,
but you know what it is? Okay, one thing that I feel like is a complete misconception is that the introduction of black people was Ham.
That is the introduction of black people.
I don't believe so at all. And the reason why I don't believe so is that if we look at modern day, not modern day Africa, they were not white people, bro. Jesus was not a white man at all. The people around Jesus and all of these things, they were not white people.
What do you think they were?
Brown,
if you had to compare
black,
them, okay.
Because think of it like this, yeah. I believe before forget about all race and all them things like that.
Yeah.
People used to live side by side, white and black. I don't think it's a thing where one day white people just appeared, or one day black people just appeared. No, I feel like we've always been there. I feel like racism is a thing
that's made.
Yeah,
I agree with that
100%. Because prior to one day, the first white man saying, "Yo, man's gonna take black people under power," then they were probably living side by side, no issues.
But when you say side by side, are we talking about geographically or just in concept?
I would say, okay, cool, boom. Let's go to the Tower of Babel.
Yeah, yes, right.
If we're speaking about the Tower of Babel, and that's another reason why, because if we believe in white people and black people coexisted, then we believe, that before the Tower of Babel happened.
Do we believe that? So are you saying that as on top of the fact that languages were changed, are you saying that that's when skin color was born as well, when the Tower of Babel was split?
No. I'm saying skin color was already there prior before the Tower of Babel.
So when biblically did different color people come into the fold? Because if we all came from Noah, how did we all end up different colors?
Okay, cool. But if you think of it like this, even though we all came from one fruit, there's different variations. That's what I'm trying to say. So it doesn't mean, because it's not like today. Like now, what would obviously Noah, it would all be incest right now if you would start one. The genealogy was different back then. 100%. Things would change. So it produced different humans, different kind of things. Because think of it like this. Like even and this is another reason why I love the Bible here, because even if you think about, because somebody could say, oh, how could an angel have kids with a human being? Like they don't have reproductive organs, but it was still something that happened. And what did they produce? A different form, a different kind of human being. So back then, in those days, what I believe is we were producing different kind of human beings from the get-go. White, black, big, small, all of these
so you think from the beginning, we've always been different colours?
100%. I don't believe that there was one day, because even think about it, God said, let us make man in our image.
So then now you're saying that the heavenly courts are different colours and stuff as well?
No. I'm saying, okay, that's a good question.
You see what I'm saying?
In terms of when it comes to God, I feel like our spirit form is different from
like physical flesh. Form. You're right. But so you just said, use that as an example though, to say in our image.
Of course. So when God did say, let us make man in our image, he might have more referred to in terms of how we are,
like wisdom, intelligence, stuff like that.
Things like that. In terms of, not necessarily in terms of what we look like. Because even if you look at the Bible, do you actually know what angels really look like?
Is there a description?
Bro, if you go and Google a picture right now of what an angel looks like, it looks nothing like what we've been told it looks like.
But how does anybody know what an angel looks like though?
It describes in the Bible, like even if you speak about Revelations, like how angel is described as a ball, a circle, there's bare eyes everywhere, huge wings. Like the description of what an angel looks like is nothing like what we've been told it looks like at all. It's mad.
That's actually one thing that I don't feel like I've ever come across was a description. Actually, no, I'm a liar. I remember, I think there was a description of something called like a cherub. But I don't know if that's of angel. Yeah, that's true.
But if you were to Google it now and actually look at the actual image, it's not like eyes all like the one described. It's like even one angel is described as like having the body of a human being, but it's got like different faces. One face is like I think it was like a bull, an eagle, and it had a face of a man, wings everywhere. Whatever I'm trying to say.
So there is bare descriptions.
The Bible has so much information. It's mental. And that's why I say it cannot be written by man. Because where did a man get the?
And it says some look like human, just in like shiny clothes.
You know what I'm trying to say? There's different levels to this stuff.
Fair.
Do you get me? There's even a story. I'm even going to do another story on that personally. But when you wouldn't believe that Jacob wrestled with an angel.
Oh yeah, I know that story.
When I heard about that, I was thinking, man, where's my angel? You guys joking? Bro, God sent me an angel right now. We're fighting.
These men were wrestling for 12 hours. That's long. What the hell?
For my blessing, I won't do that.
It's the longest UFC fight ever. 12 hours straight.
No, but deep it. You get what I'm trying to say? Man, I was wrestling with the angel, bro. Did you get me? To get that blessing, just for that little blessing. Like.
No, it's a huge, because that's now what turned him to Israel. His name became Israel, and that's where all the Israels come from that moment.
Do you
know what I'm saying? All his descendants.
Do you know what I'm saying? So, okay, but my whole thing by that saying is that if we're going to think about things logical, let's take the Bible away from it now. If there's loads of different kinds of angels, and loads of different kinds of angels always exist. Like you said, some look like human, some forms of
that's a great point that you're making.
I'm trying to say. So then, when God made us in our image,
it would make sense that there'd be different types of humans.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
So that's why I don't believe that. I feel like there's been so much misconception, even when they say, because I don't get me twisted. Now, man's not ignorant to the fact that white people came over and they kind of. And they did use certain parts of the Bible to brainwash people and all this.
So do you agree that they brought the concept of the Bible to us?
No. I believe that they perverted the Bible and brought it to us in a way that was because. Okay, cool. For example,
I agree with that, by the way.
Yeah, no, definitely. I feel like they perverted the Bible in the way that it was brought to us. Like, I feel like it was more Catholic.
Yeah,
you know what I'm trying to say?
It was a completely different
Catholic.
thing from what it started as by the time it brought it to us.
Do you hear what I'm saying to you? And I'm not Catholic, and I'm not Catholic for a reason, because there's a lot of stuff with Catholicism.
But actually, though, do you know that Protestant Christianity that started kind of recently? For a very, 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 very long time, all there was officially was Catholicism Christianity.
And it's mad. And do you know that there was what? Sorry.
Catholicism Christianity, or Catholicism, which is a type of Christianity.
Okay, cool. So you're saying what Christianity as what you have now started recently?
Christianity is like how like Baptists and stuff like that. The main form that like black people Christianity are, which is called Protestant, that came much later down the line. I think in like 1200, 1300, something like that.
Okay, you know what? I'm not going to argue with you because I'm not too sure on the dates. But what I'm going to say in the sense of the whole premise as it is, though, in terms of, for example, like Jesus and this and that, that's been about.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Do you know
that's been about since zero, as in 0 AD.
But even that as well, like, I'm happy you even said 0 AD. If God did not have the influence that he had today in the world, do you think they really wouldn't BC before Christ? After, like, how much of an influence worldwide?
I'll tell you why.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? But
I'll tell you why.
Go on.
Because at the time, the Roman Empire had everyone on lock. It's just like how the British Empire was the king of everything at one point.
No,
at that time in history, Romans controlled everyone and everywhere. So once the Roman emperor decided to convert to Christianity, then of course the whole world is going to become Christian because they control the whole world at the time.
Okay, I agree with that, but my whole point is in the sense of, if let's just say God was actually real, and this is one thing that's beautiful about God as well, like, if God was real, surely he'd want to preserve his words, right? And he wants to, like, literally, like, if God was real and these are the words of God, the Bible, God would have wanted to preserve his words what it is today. Yeah. And if God, and no matter what evil says, whatever God wants to happen will happen, right? So having that in mind, like you said, the biggest man in the world at the time converted to Christianity and changed everything into what it is today. Surely that goes to show the power of God that it is. He didn't convert to Islam. He didn't convert to this, he didn't convert to that. Yeah. And that has changed the course of the world.
It has.
Do you know what I'm trying to say?
It has.
And if you think about it, surely if there was a God who was real and he actually existed, that should be actually like a telltale sign in the sense of, like, the fact that he was able to do this, and till this day we still have it.
But then why would he allow the revelation of the Prophet Muhammad and allow that to grow as fat as that grew? Because 60% of Africa is Christian, but 40% is Muslim.
Do you know the funny thing is, you say about that, even in the Bible it talks about, there's, I think one of the gods, small G, that tried to rival God.
Small G.
Man has to let them know, you get me? Like, man's not messing about small G, you get me? Like, one of the gods, small G, who was, I think it was Baal or Molech, one of the two, back in that day, was just as popular as Christianity, even to the point where a lot of Israelites were following, I think, doing it was Baal well. Molech. Yeah, do you know what I'm trying to say?
That's true.
So it's like the same question: why did God allow it then? And it's because we have free will. God wants people to come to Him freely. If it was a situation,
yeah, but bro, you're mixing your arguments though, because you can't on one hand say, oh, like, God stepped in and made sure that Christianity took over the world, but then it will step out and then let the free will do the free will thing. You know what I'm saying?
But in the sense of, I hear what you mean, but okay, cool. I do agree with that.
See what I'm saying?
I do agree with that. The only thing that I would say to that is in the sense of, if God has given us free will, that does not mean that God cannot push the narrative.
Yeah, He can do whatever He wants at any time. I agree with that.
Same with the angels. Like, He's given the angels free. He didn't even give the angels free will. He told the angels to do X, Y, Z. Them man rebelled on their own. Do you get me? And they were punished for their rebellious. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's like, even though God allows certain things to happen, that does not mean he can't have his say.
But then it's very convenient to, as a Christian, pick and choose when he decided to have a say and when he didn't decide to have a say. Because any religion can do that. Like, I'm sure if we had an Islam person represent Islam right now, they'll say the same thing. That, oh, no, there was one more revelation. And it was Muhammad. And they'll believe that just as strongly as you believe Jesus was the last one.
Of course, but then it's the proof. Like, even if I don't really want to touch too much on Islam, to be honest, but I want to make a whole new video about that. But when I deep Islam in the sense of like, bro, what's my point here? My whole point is in the sense of, because I used to believe, check this. I used to believe Allah's not real. Allahs don't exist. It used to baffle me how people could be Muslim, like that thing. And before people start coming at me in the comments, like, if you need to be loyal to what you believe in.
But wait, do you see a difference between God and Allah?
100%.
What difference would you say there is?
Huge difference. It's like saying, bro, man's got a 6 Series with a sunroof and heated seats, and man's got a 6 Series with standard edition. They both might look the same, but they're both very different in terms of, like, I think the biggest distinctions, yeah, and that's why I said the same thing in terms of sunroof, yeah. Let's just say Jesus Christ is the sunroof, yeah. That's a big distinction of a car, yeah. Man's got a panoramic roof. That's different from man's got a standard edition. When I look up, all I see is ceiling. They're too different to call them the same, even though they may look the same, similar. And when you look at God and Allah, first of all, Jesus Christ is the main thing. Second of all, the teachings.
But but you're comparing differences between Christianity and Islam, not Allah and God. Yeah, because they both have the same character. They both literally have, apart from Muhammad, that's the only difference in character.
No, there's huge difference in terms of, like, I remember there's a part of the Quran where it says basically that God wants, is basically saying that God wants people to, he's going to allow the people to perish, basically. But whereas if you look at it in Christianity is more of opposed to, like, God doesn't want anyone to perish. That's why the world is going on for so long, because he wants everyone to come to repentance. Do you know what I'm trying to say? Even in terms of the way we pray, even in terms of the names, the different names you have, because we refer to God as Yahweh, yeah. They refer to God as Allah, yeah. If you've got if one has a son and one doesn't have a son, that's already 2 distinction factors, yeah.
But that's story differences, though, not necessarily the God himself.
No, but we believe that Jesus and God are the same, so you can't have. Do you get what I mean? You can't have. It's not the same. And the Holy Spirit, they don't believe in the Holy. They just believe in Allah, and Allah is all. So that's why I'm saying they're too different to be the same. And if anyone's offended by that, you've got to ask yourself, like I said with the 6 Series thing, you cannot tell me man's got the same car and it's not got panoramic in the rims, and maybe 6 Series is not the best, but
I get what you're saying. I get what,
that you can't.
There is subtle differences.
Yeah, and to the point where it's more than subtle differences, in my opinion. Like, to the point where I think if I was to compare God and Allah, it's more like God's the X6, Allah's the 6 Series. Do you get what I mean? You might have the same similar name, 6 in both of them. But one's X6, big version, bulky thing, big boy thing. The other one's just a little bit slender to the floor. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And I don't believe that they're the same people. People argue about that all day, but the fact, if Muslims believed in Jesus Christ,
they do believe, they just don't think he's the son.
It's not the same thing. And it's so, and I feel like the Christ part is the most important part.
Yeah, that's central to Christianity.
Yeah, literally, you can't have one without the other. And that's why I believe that they're not the same, because Christianity says God done everything through Jesus Christ, his son. Islam says that God done everything through himself, for himself, and da 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 da. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But what I'm saying is, you're right in terms of the religions are completely different. But what if, like, it's a little theory that I have, what if it's the same God, but you had 2 different kinds of people kind of retell their story of, because at the end of the day, like, if you draw a line between them, they both have Moses, they both have Jibril or Gabriel, they both have Mary, they both have Jesus, they both have Joseph, they both have, it's the exact same thing, apart from what might be like human changes.
Do you know what came to mind as you said that? Same way you've got things happening on earth, in heaven, the heavenly realm, the darkness tries to emulate the same thing. You see what I'm saying to you? And the fact that Islam and Christianity is so close together is similar in terms of, like you said, they have some similarities. it was not done accidentally. It was done purposefully. 100%, because there had to be like that distinction, which in the sense of, like you said, when it comes to when it comes to Christ, right? But because they're so close together in terms of, like you said, Abraham and this and that, blah blah blah. People think that they're the same God. Like, even like there's a verse that I've got here, funny enough, where it speaks to, where is it? In Revelation, yeah.
Do you think the Jewish God and the Christian God is the same God? Just real quick.
I feel like that's more of a difficult one, and the only reason why I say that is because I would say that they're the people you could argue and say that, because they worship the same God in the Bible, they just don't believe that He is the Son of God. So you can argue and say that, they're worshipping the same God, they're just not worshipping Him how God wants them to be worshipped.
But why wouldn't you say the same thing with Islam then? What's the difference?
Because it's different in the sense of, like, this the God in the, like, for example, you've got Prophet Muhammad. Muhammad's not the only place Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible is when it speaks about false prophets, bro.
Okay.
That's the only time Prophet Muhammad is mentioned in the Bible. The Bible don't mention Muhammad at all.
But then a Jewish person could say the Torah don't mention Jesus at all.
But that's not the, okay. I hear what you're saying in terms of the point that you're making. But then it's like, they don't believe that. Okay, yeah, I hear what you're saying in terms of that. But the fact that they don't believe in the New Testament, because all it is if I'm not mistaken, the Torah is basically just the Old Testament, right?
Yeah. New Testament just added on.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? So it's still the same book.
I get what you're saying. It's the same.
But whereas when you read the Quran, it's completely different. It's not the same at all. Like, do you get what I mean? Even in terms of the way that they get to heaven and how that they're saved and all of these things, it's completely different rules. You see what I'm saying? That's why I feel like they're too distinct to be the same.
Fair.
Yeah, way too distinct to be the same. But yeah, that's what I was saying. So even there's a verse in Revelations 9:20, yeah. And it's talking about basically the end times, yeah, and the mark of the beast, all that stuff, yeah. And it goes, so people who did not die refused to repent of their evil deeds and turn to God. They continued to worship demons and idols, silver and bronze, idols that cannot see, hear, or walk. So that's just going to show that, like, I'm not saying specifically Islam, but it's like, even during the end times, people will still cling and hold on to these fake gods. Even when it's so clear, Okay. Even when it's so clear that, brother, do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, that, and I feel like, what's my point? I feel like the reason why that is the case is because of all the evil and the baddest in the world. And that's kind of what brings us back to the whole question in terms of the spirituality. Like, if you were to tell me right now, where does it come from? Like, it's very clear in terms of where the Bible comes from, the whole Christian story, whether people believe it or not. Even Islam, per se, like where it says that allegedly the angel Gabriel came and gave him the revelation, but it doesn't actually say the angel Gabriel. And even the encounter, you heard how Muhammad got the... Bro, it sounds like an attack, bro. Like, from what I heard, it's like that apparently it was I believe anyway, from what it says, it sounds more like an evil spirit than an angel to me, because it says it sat on his chest, he couldn't breathe, and all these things like that, and all of these things. So it's like, when you think about it and you actually understand that, it's like, right, if my point is, if Muhammad got his book from the angel or whatever, wherever he's meant to have got it from, it's not the same as the revelation that we have. It's not the same as the revelation that the Jewish people have. It's a completely different one. Do you get what I mean? That God has to be different. Yeah. It has to be different. And then when we look at all the other spirituality, like I said, where's their context? Where will, like, you can't, like, do you know what I'm trying to say?
Well, when you say where's their context, what do you mean? You mean like,
there's
what's
no
the origin?
Yeah, like, where's the origin?
That's because Africans haven't got preservation of writing in general. Like, the earliest written records we have in Africa, are written in Arabic. So that means we didn't even start writing things down until we had already been influenced by Islam. We don't have any, like, we were oral traditionalist people, right? Which is a big problem today because we've got nothing to reference. all these other places, these other people, they writ their shit down and been writing their shit down.
But I agree with that. But then I feel like there's also been a huge attempt to destroy history, and we see that now. Like, have you ever been to Egypt?
I haven't,
Bro, if you've gone to Egypt, there's I think it's the Egyptian museum, bro. Like, it's baffling to me. You'll see the statues there, clearly black people with their nose chopped off.
So do you think the ancient Egyptians were black?
100, bro, it's clear as day.
I don't think so.
There weren't no white statues of the Egyptians.
I don't think white, but I don't think they were black either.
Bro, if I had my phone right now...
No, I've seen them. They've got the same ones in the British Museum, because I've been to the British Museum.
I promise you, like, even when you look at them, it was, like, think of it like this, yeah? Back in the day, they would have made statues that resembles them or what they see, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Why would you have used that same brown stone, brown pictures? Why would you... And it's not like... From what I see as well, if you look at the hieroglyphics, it's not that they're all black. Some of them are white.
Exactly, and then some of them are dark.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
So that's why I don't think they were black.
So that goes to show... So would you believe they were white?
No, not white, but like same way you've got like Lebanese people and like...
But then bear in mind, from what I said prior, that all race has been around all the time.
Yeah.
It's only recently where it's now that, we're going to start beefing and all that, So if that's the case... Black would have been around, white would have been around, because they say like me, but man's very dark skinned, yeah. So if you got to think of it like this, yeah, like, and like I said, I'm first generation British, yeah. My generation has not been diluted at all, zero. So from whenever the first line of whoever I am started, they must have been black as me.
100%.
Do you get what I'm trying to say? So if having that in mind. Like, my skin color would have always been around. It's only white people.
I'm not saying that black people of your complexion have been here the longest of any people on this planet. But geographically speaking, you got to remember, between West Africa, Central Africa, like, there's the fattest desert ever. There's no cars, there's no planes. So trying to cross that back in the day, that's not light work. We're talking about months to go from Nigeria to Egypt.
Well, for real, it took like 40 years in the desert. And
do you see what I'm saying? So the people in Egypt who are all the way on that side of the desert, and the people like in West Africa, I believe back then, are different people, because you're so separate.
No. Okay, cool.
Do you get what I'm trying to say?
We have the same understanding. I agree with you as well there, but I do then believe that there was also people that mixes as well. Like, I don't believe that it was just a mix in the sense of I don't believe that there was just certain race each place all among the world. I believe that there might have been predominantly, like how it is now, like the stats you gave earlier, or in the UK you got predominantly more white people, in Africa you got predominantly more black people. So it could have been like that, but I do believe that there was a mix, and there always has been a mix. I don't believe that, and that's another reason why I generally believe that the powers that be did what they did to put black people in the position that we are now. Because if we look at all the great things that the Egyptians did, whom I believe were black, and which cannot still be replicated today, imagine if they'd allowed that to go on. It would be the opposite. Do you get what I'm trying to say? Like, it would be black people that would enslave white people. Even though I don't believe that they would do that. But do you know what I'm trying to say? It would be completely different. But it's because we were enslaved because of our power, not because of our weakness. Do you know what I'm trying to say?
I don't know.
You don't believe so?
I don't know if I agree.
It's like, because if you think about it, like, even though back in the day when you used to have the slave fighters and all of that, they used to breed the biggest big dons. You weren't breeding white people to produce them, man.
Yeah, but at the same time,
what
does all that mean if we still got patterned? At the actual end of the day, what does any of that mean, fam? We took an L historically, and that's actually just a fact that we can't deny. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what? I feel like I do agree with what you mean in terms of we did take a L definitely. But I feel like there's a reason behind it. I
do think there was intention behind it. I definitely don't think it was by accident.
100%.
And I don't even think it's our fault. Here's what I think, your environment breeds you. Yeah? And what is small is what is big. What do I mean by that? So if you're from inner city London, and you grow up in like a rough estate, that environment is going to change how you end up growing up. You're probably going to grow up with different kind of street smarts, different kind of roughness, different kind of than somebody who grew up in a suburb somewhere in a nice, like where you grew up, like shapes you, So if you're in Africa, and do you know what I think got us more than anything else? I think it's literally geography, fam. We were so isolated from the rest of the world. Like, on one side of us, you've got just bare sea. On the other side of us, you've got bare sand. So all we know is each other. See what I'm saying? In places like the UK and Europe, these men are actively warring each other, actively beefing, actively getting good at military might and war, essentially. So by the time they've come to buck us, we haven't been on that type of time. We haven't had to. It hasn't been starvation. It hasn't been no resources. It hasn't been just living on potatoes. We have everything in Africa already. We're cushy. So these men, basically, who equivalently have grown up on the rough estate, have come over, and to us, we've been cushy in the nice sun and the good plants and stuff, and they've overwhelmed us because we weren't ready for that. But they've been hardened over time. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. But then it's funny that you even use the word hardened over time, because I do believe, for whatever reason, God can harden people's hearts, whether it's rulers and nations. Like, look what God did to Pharaoh. Like, God could have made, like, do you know what I mean? And it's all for the glory of God, which it came down to. Because it's like, look at what God literally, when it came to all these miracles and whatnot, God hardened Pharaoh's heart so that Pharaoh wouldn't be easily like, okay, cool, yeah, you know what, let my people go and all of that stuff. So if God can harden Pharaoh's heart, who's to say God hasn't done the same thing in history? Well, even when it comes to the rulers or the white people or the black people or whoever it may be. But what I'm trying to say, my point I'm trying to bring out is whatever has happened now, in terms of how we are, has happened for a reason. Yeah,
I think so.
100%, and it's all part of in my opinion, spiritually divine. Because if man grew up, white area, bro. But what I was exposed to was probably more crime than a lot of other black youths were involved in. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, I do understand what you mean in terms of, your environment breeds you and da. But then again, it's how you maneuver that, how you navigate and all of that stuff like that. Like, look at the state of black people now. We've been out of slavery for how long, but we're still in chains, bro.
But why is that though?
Go ask all these jewelers, all of them man with the big chains and this and that. Like, we've been brainwashed to think a certain way. Like, bro, even for somebody like me back in the day, man was brainwashed to think certain things was cool, bro. Do you get what I mean? Like, that certain things were cool. But all of that now has helped me become who the person I am today. Me and my sister, we grew up in the same household, but we're two different people. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So that's what, a lot of the time, people see all of these things as negative things. And yeah, don't get me wrong, it was bad, a lot of the slavery and all of these things and that, blah, blah, blah. But look at where it's brought us today.
But when you say us, who exactly do you mean? Are you talking
human
about...
race. I'm not even just talking about in terms of black people, white people. I'm talking about the human race as a whole. Like, look at where it's taken us today. And I feel like history just repeats itself. I don't feel like there's, any distinction between the mass exodus in the book of Exodus or what happened with the Atlantic slave trade. Obviously, I know what you mean in terms of, people went around and people went further across the world, but ultimately it was still people who were
put on oppression.
Yeah, put on oppression, put in chains and all of these things like that. And what it breeds is sometimes more important than what actually happened.
So you're saying the outcome that we're waiting for, we're still waiting for, basically? Because I don't see that we've gotten anywhere near close to that yet, and it's been so long.
In a way, yeah. But then, okay, cool. But then, if you think, slavery was not longer. Let's just say the world's been around for 10,000 years, whatever.
Hundreds of thousands.
Yeah. Okay, let's just say hundreds of thousands years. Let's say max slavery's been around for like 1,000, 2,000 years. That's nothing compared to the history of human beings. You see what I'm saying to you? Absolutely nothing. So this is just something that's had to happen now.
It's just a blip in time.
Yeah, basically. But it's there to. It happened there to produce something. Same way.
But what is it produced that you're saying it was meant to produce?
I think God.
It's produced God. You're saying
it allows us not to forget God. If I'm honest with you, that's why I feel like all of these things, in a way, or why God allowed these things to happen, because it allows you to remember God. Because if everything was all good and rainy, like, I think, bro, even if you look back at the Bible, That God brought He sent manna from heaven. The water, shoom, lifted up the water. Man walked through the sea. All of these great miracles that you see. But what did people do? And they saw it with their own eyes, my bro. But what did they do? They still turned away from God and worshipped false gods and idols and all of these things. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So it's like, even though they went through all that bad stuff, it still look what it produced. And it's like, with what has happened today, it's like, yeah, cool, we've been through a lot, we've been through slavery, we've been through all of this, but look at what it's produced. Look where it's brought us closer to God. It's brought us back to the religion.
But what does that really mean, though? Because remember, again, the topic of this is African descendants. Mm-hmm. So we're speaking about the impact on African descendants, right? Mm-hmm. And you say it's bringing us closer back to God, but before they even came, there was no conceptually, there was no God to get close to in the first place. Everything was already fine. We didn't have to wait for something because things were okay.
Okay, cool. You say that things were always fine and da, but it's like sometimes even in the Bible, God will give up. Like especially, and you know what? I've got a great example. So let's just say, all of them did, like you said, back in Africa, back in the day, it was all they were worshipping other gods, spirituality, all of this stuff, they were doing their own thing, own teachings. That, do you not see that in the Bible shown time and time again, when his people are not worshipping him and turning to other gods, he gives them up to them people.
Yeah, but our people have been worshipping that for like thousands of years
exactly.
now.
So
and we're still no better, is what I'm trying to say.
No, but what I'm saying in the sense of, if you look at the spirituality that you're talking about, the indigenous spirituality, let's say before all the slaves came, right? But not slaves, the slave masters came, right? So they're worshipping whatever god, like, I don't know.
And not even necessarily gods, like, it could just be that, you know, like, you have appreciation for the sun, higher powers, like, you know, it's not necessarily, it wasn't always so, you know what I'm saying?
Okay, so let me tell you this then, because a lot of, do you believe that there's an issue with speaking to the dead or going to like fortune tellers or witchcraft or things like that?
Me personally, I wouldn't do that.
Why?
Just because it's not, I don't believe that stuff is, I don't think it's real. Me personally.
Oh, you don't think it's real?
No.
Really?
No, I don't. Okay,
still. That's interesting.
But I get where you're going with it in terms of that was part of like the old spirituality and stuff like that.
Yeah, because in my head I'm thinking like, because all of the, like, even if we look at, that's a good example. Let's steer away from spirituality for a second and look at witchcraft and all this evil stuff, yeah?
Obviously, which is a type of spirituality.
I guess so, yeah, definitely. But I feel like it's more probably on the dark side. But
you say that because like you're coming from the Christian faith, though. See what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
I'm looking at everything just objectively as just an observer.
Okay, so even if you were to look at it objectively as an observer, yeah, witchcraft. Where do they, like, if you've ever watched videos about witches, warlocks and whatnot, what they say, they have to do pretty dark stuff to get the power that they have. Whether it's sacrifices, whether it's drinking blood, whether it's praying to demons, whether it's doing all of these things. Why do you think they have to do that stuff, bro?
I don't know.
And the reason I'm saying that they have to do that stuff here is because it's giving glory to their gods, small g. Do you get what I'm trying to say? And all these sorts of things. So if that is the case and they're doing all of these things for their small gods, blah, 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 you can't then compare them people to Christians and say that, okay, cool, Christians are doing it, they're doing it too. Do you get what I'm trying to say? There's two, it's very, like, what's my point? What I'm trying to say is it's very different in the sense of, like, all of these, like, the worship that you, like, back in the day, before the slave masters came, all the people that they were giving worship to, let's say, if you look at a biblical perspective and it wasn't God, that means God was not happy with them. And if God was not happy with them, God could have allowed them to be taken over by the other people, which is what happened a lot of the time in the Bible. When they turned away from God, God said, cool, these people want you, they can have you, mate, and I'm not going to protect you anymore. Do you get what I'm trying to say? So my whole thing is saying in the sense of, now that we've kind of been brought back to Christianity and which I believe was there anyway, but it's now kind of more widespread. Now it's kind of like, okay, cool, my people are back now. They can now come under my covenant again and serve me instead of serving all the false gods that they were doing. That way there, now that they serve me, I'm not going to let them get taken away or captured or anything like that by their people.
But then why has been let all of the turmoil that we are still in? Like, what benefit have we gotten from going back? That's what I'm trying to say. There's been no benefit. We're the poorest country. We've got the most war and we're the most corrupt. So where's the benefit?
Okay, if you look at it in terms of
like practical real life, is how I'm looking at it.
And what I was gonna say is, if you look at it through earthly perspective, yeah, there's no benefit in the sense of like, other than what we've learned, but about God and even about history and whatnot. But if we look at it from an earthly perspective, there's no benefit because, like you said, we're worse off. We've been through so much pain and all of these things and da 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 da. But if you look at it from a spiritual perspective, the whole point of living is to get to heaven, right? To have eternal life.
But that's okay. If for a second we say that's actually not the case, if we just for a second imagine that's not the case, then we've been boopsed in the craziest way, because we're all okay with how this earthly way is going because of the promise of something later. But if that thing later actually isn't true, then we've been boopsed in a crazy fashion.
You say that, yeah, but then what would you rather? Would you, because somebody said this to me one day and this like kind of changed the way I think. Would you rather die, believe in God, and then know that God's not existing and God's not real, and then die, or would you rather not believe in God and then you die and then you find out that God is real? It's too late to turn back.
But it's not necessarily not. I get what you're saying. I'm going to just what you're saying quickly, but it's not necessarily not believing in God. It's just that being spiritual means you kind of identify your own path with the higher power. You don't have rules and a written book tell you how it's supposed to be, because from your perspective that's just another human telling you how it's supposed to work. So you could still believe in God, it's just that you haven't been given the guidance of how that works.
So in your head you're your own God basically.
No, but as in you could believe in a higher power, but you're just human enough to admit I don't know how that works and end it there. You see what I'm saying? Every different religion, what are they? They're just a way of telling you how the connection works with the higher power. But they're all different perspectives.
Not the higher power, with a higher power. I believe that personally, like if we were to go back to the Tower of Babel, and like I said, when God divvied up the world and whatnot, if we actually to take that story as gospel, and that's true, then that explains where all these other false God worships come from.
Yeah, but we're saying, what if the case that it's not true though? That's what I'm trying to say. So
if it's okay, but then even if it's if it's not true, then you still got to ask yourself, by what power are these people doing what they're doing?
But which people are doing what?
Like indigenous people, where are they getting their spirits? Because okay, cool. Like for example, let me ask you. So do you think it's okay to talk to the dead if you have that power?
Is it okay to talk to the dead?
Or to consult with the spirits?
I mean, you could argue that what's the difference between that and praying? Like, what really is the difference?
Because you're not
from the outside looking in.
Praying is the heart and elevation of your mind and your body, your soul, whatever it is, to God. When you're talking to the dead, it's not the same thing.
Or talking to your ancestors, if you rephrase it like, I'm speaking
that's
an old family member.
Do you know, it's funny enough because let me get I've got a verse specifically where it talks about speaking to your ancestors, yeah. Down for where is it? Yeah, okay, cool. Spiritual beings in rebellion. Okay, cool. Okay, so in Deuteronomy 8:10, yeah. Or even Leviticus 19:31, it says, "Do not defile yourself by turning to mediums or to those who consult spirits of the dead. I am the Lord your God." Yeah. Then even Deuteronomy 18:10, "Never sacrifice your children as burnt offerings. Do not practice fortune telling or sorcery or interpret omens or witchcraft or spells. Call of the spirits or the dead, because they're detestable to God." So all of these things are even when it comes to speaking to you, whether it's your ancestor, all of these things, there's a reason why God doesn't like it and why it's detestable to him. And that then brings me back again to false God worship. You don't know, like there's something that told me, there's a story that said that when people speak to the dead, when they use Ouija board and all that, and they try to speak to their ancestors, they're not actually speaking to their ancestors. They're speaking to spirits, evil spirits. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
But nobody knows that though. Nobody can prove that it's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying?
Do you know what? There was one thing that I watched here. Obviously, we can't show it up now, but long story short, the person was basically saying that this person pretended to be, not pretended, he went to go speak to one of the spirits, and the spirit was talking, pretended to be his dead relative, and this, that. But the spirit was shocked, like, oh, what's this going on, and what's that going on, all this and all that. And it's like, the spirit wasn't able to comprehend and understand what's going on. So is that somebody who you should be getting advice from?
But that's just you don't know that's true though. That's just a story.
So you don't believe, okay, so, but...
You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe in, like, real life evidence, yeah?
Okay.
So if we, like, bring it back to the African descendants of today, yeah? You're saying, okay, cool, in Leviticus, God gives these rules. Mm-hmm. You shall follow these rules. Mm-hmm. What I'm saying is, okay, cool. What benefit is there in following a set of rules if you get nothing from it? So you keep bringing us back to passages, yeah, saying we should do this and we should do that. I'm saying, okay, African descendants have been doing this and doing that for multiple years now, and what do they have to show for it? That's my whole thing. What are we actually tangibly seeing? You're saying, okay, they'll make it to heaven. That's fine, but like, that's just a promise. And also there's people on this world that are Christian and rich and living good and not going through oppression. So why specifically do black African descendants have to be the Christians that are going through it? Like, do you see what I'm trying to say?
I hear and understand what you're saying. And I think that the only reason that's the case is because I believe in the power that we had prior with the pyramids and this and that. I feel like if it was the opposite way around and it was, I don't, to be honest, I don't think black people would have enslaved white people.
I feel the same way, to be honest.
I really don't.
I get why you say that.
I see it happening. Like,
I get what you're saying.
Like, it's so...
I do get what you're saying, but
yeah. Still, but it's like... because of all the because we've been enslaved and whatnot, you're basically saying that, like, right now that we may seem to be following the spirituality or whatnot, but what's our reward? There's no reward.
Yeah, what have we gotten from following the rules? We've ended up as having the worst situation on this planet in terms of the different people, types of people, different nations. Our nation's got the worst end of the stick.
But do you think that is because we follow the rules or because we don't follow the rules?
I think it's because we follow the rules.
So
you're saying, okay, so what you're trying to say is that everybody that's Christian, they haven't been following the Christian rules enough to the point where this has been our just punishment.
No. I would say that, not necessarily. I would say that life is hard. Whether you're Christian, whether you're Buddhist, whatever the hell you are, life is going to always be hard in a certain way, yeah? Of course. So because by what you're saying basically is necessarily that because as a Christian, your life should be reflect, and if God is the true God, your life should reflect that, and basically it should be clear. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, not even just as a Christian, just as a human. If anybody promises me that I follow a certain method or I do a certain thing, I will get a certain outcome, and then I do what they tell me, and I don't get the outcome, naturally I'm not gonna continue to do what they're telling me. Like,